Hello students, welcome back to the course of Operations Research. Our today's topic is problem formulation. So let's start with the example. By solving this example, we will understand what the problem formulation is all about. So here in this example, the company produces two products P and Q. The sales volume of P is at least 70% of the total sales of both P and Q. However, the company cannot sell more than 500 units of product P per day. Both products are made of one raw material and the availability of that is maximum 800 kg daily. The product P needs 1.5 kg and product Q needs 2 kg per unit production. The profit for one unit of P is 60 rupees and for Q is 90 rupees. Determine the optimal product mix for the company. So first let's understand the problem. Here the company produces two products, that is P and Q. Okay, then in next line they said that whatever the total cells, that is of total of P and Q, out of the total cells the 70% should be of P type. Okay, also they have mentioned that company cannot sell more than 500 units of P. So whatever the units company is producing, the maximum possible product P is 500. These both the products are made of one raw material and that need of that for product P is 1.5 kg and product Q is 2 kg. The company is making profit from product P as a 60 rupees and from product Q is 90 rupees. So for solving this example, first we need to define the decision variables. So this decision variables, that means we are defining some kind of variables, and by finding out the values of that variable, we will come to the maximization or minimization, or it can be in between range of the solution. Here we are having the two products as product P and product Q. And the decision is in our hand, that means how much we are going to produce product P and how much we are going to produce product Q. So let's assume some variable as X and Y. So here we have assumed that we are going to produce X number of product P and Y number of product Q. This X and Y, they are representing the total number of product P and product Q. Okay, in next line we are having some constraints. Now this constraint, you can say the requirement or the limitations you have in your companies. So here it is mentioned that the sales volume of P is at least 70% of the total sales. So by considering this line, we can say that whatever our total sell, so our total sales will be X plus Y, because we are going to produce X number of product P and Y number of product Q. So combinedly we are having X plus Y as a number of the sales, and the 70% of that means the 70% of the total sales, mathematically you can say that 0.7 times X plus Y, and this number that should be less than the total number of product P. So our first constraint, that is your X should be greater than or equal to 0.7 times X plus Y, where X is the total number of P we are producing and X plus Y, that is total sales amount. For example, if you are having total sales amount X plus Y is 100 product, then 0.7 into 100, that means 70 or more than 70 products would be type P. Okay, now we are going for the second line. In second line it is mentioned that the company cannot sell more than 500 units of product P per day. That means whatever the number of product P we are producing, it cannot go beyond the number 500. So our second constraint is your X value should be less or equal to 500. So this is how we are generating our constraint from the given question. So until now we have defined the decision variables, that are X number of product P and Y number of product Q. Then we have defined our two constraints. The first is for total sale and the second is of maximum limit of the production of product P. Now we are moving towards the our third constraint, and that is regarding the raw material. So here it says that both the products are made of the same raw material, and the total maximum availability of the raw material, that is 800 kg. And when we are going to produce the product P, that it requires the 1.5 kg of raw material, and we are going for the product Q, then it requires the 2 kg of raw material. So when we are going for the constraint, we need to multiply this 1.5 and 2 with the total number of product, that is X and Y. So here first we have multiplied 1.5 with X because P products require 1.5 kg. Same way we have multiplied 2 with the Y. The reason is our Q products require 2 kg. This summation, that is 1.5x plus 2y, that stands for the total raw material that we have used for making the X and Y number of products. And this value, that should be less or equal to 800 because we have maximum 800 kg of raw material. So now we have our third constraint, and the third constraint is 1.5 times X plus 2y, that should be less or equal to 800. Now when we are going forward in the question, then it is written that the profit for the 1 unit of P is 60 and 1 unit of Q is 90. So before going to the detailed discussion about the profit, let's summarize the things that we have already learned. So we have started the question with the decision variables, and we have defined that our X and Y, that would be the number of products of P and Q respectively. Then we have considered the constraint, as our first constraint is of the total cells. The second constraint is of the total number of P product that we can maximum produce, and the third constraint is related to the raw material. Now let's talk about the profit. As in this question, it is given that we have the profit of 60 rupees and 90 rupees respectively for the product P and Q. So we are just looking for the profit now, and we can say that P product gives us the 60 rupees profit and Q product gives us the 90 rupees profit, and we are going to produce X number of product P and Y number of product Q for our company. So if you want to calculate the total profit, then it would be 60 times X plus 90 times Y, and we are writing this as an objective function. So now it is important to understand that what is objective function. When we are running our company, then we are running for getting the profit. So our ultimate objective is to get the profit, and here we are generating one function which gives us the value of the total profit. So we are saying that our function is Z, and where Z is equal to 60 times X plus 90 times Y, and ahead of Z we are writing maximize, as we know that whenever we are calculating the profit, whatever the maximum profit we are getting, that is good for the company. So this kind of thing, that is like profit, we are having the maximum is the better criteria, so that we are writing the maximize the Z. Suppose in this kind of questions, it is given that the cost of P and cost of Q is 60 and 90. Then we will try to minimize the cost. So in that case, we will write minimize the Z. But here it is given profit. So we are writing maximize the Z, that is equal to 60 times X plus 90 times Y. Okay, so this is how we are considering the question, and we are giving the answer in terms of the decision variable, constraint and objective function. So after understanding the decision variable, constraint and objective function, now we are going to discuss the last thing, that is said as a non-negativity of our decision variable. As we know that this decision variable X and Y stands for the number of products of P and Q. That means we are going to produce these numbers of product. So we can have the value as a 0 or we can have the value as a positive number. Here the negative values cannot be possible, as this problem is related to the realistic model. It is related to the company, a real system. In the real world, we don't have the negative numbers as a production. So we need to understand that whenever we are assuming our decision variable, we are having the fourth, the most important thing, that is non-negativity of the decision variable or non-negativity regarding the constraint, and that is your x and y should be greater than or equal to 0. So here we are ending with the problem formulation. Every time in problem formulation, you need to do these four basic steps. First, you are going to define your decision variable. Then you are going for the constraint. After that, you will define your objective function, and at last you are going to write down the non-negativity of the decision variable. And this is said as a mathematical model for your linear programming problem. Thank you students for watching this video. I will come back with the new topic called graphical method. In that we will learn how we are going to find out the values of x and y using the graphs. So stay tuned for that videos. Thank you so much students for watching this video.